She rolled her eyes in front of her friends and said, "I'm not marrying a man who asks me to sign a prenup like I'm some gold digger." I nodded, then I quietly called off the wedding. Her bridesmaids found out from the refund emails. She found out when her dad called me furious. Hey viewers, real quick, only 8% of you watching are subscribed, and the channel's kind of stuck right now. If you enjoy these stories, hitting that subscribe button would really help us keep going. Thanks. 3 weeks ago, my 4-year relationship ended in 30 seconds over one comment. Still processing how fast everything collapsed, but sometimes people show you exactly who they are when they think they're safe. Megan and I had been engaged for 10 months, together for 4 years total. Met her at a mutual friend's wedding where she caught the bouquet and joked about being next. Hit it off that night, started dating seriously pretty quick. She was everything I thought I wanted: smart, beautiful, ambitious, came from a good family. The wedding was supposed to be next month. Everything was locked in: venue, catering, flowers, photographer, the works. We'd spent the last year planning every detail. Megan had been obsessing over centerpieces and seating charts for months, posting wedding countdown updates constantly. I own a small construction company that's been growing steadily for 12 years. Started with just me and a truck. Now I've got 15 employees and steady commercial contracts. The business is worth about $2 million on paper. Plus I own rental properties and investment accounts. Megan works in marketing for a tech startup and makes decent money, but there's a significant gap between our incomes. 6 months ago, my lawyer recommended we do a prenup to protect the business assets I'd built before we met. Made perfect sense to me. I'd worked my butt off building this company from nothing. Megan seemed fine with it initially, said she understood why it was smart business. But every time I brought up scheduling the prenup meeting, she'd find reasons to postpone. Work was busy, wedding planning was stressful, we'd handle it later. I should have paid more attention to her reluctance, but I trusted that we'd get it done eventually. That's why what happened last Saturday completely blindsided me. We were at her friend Jessica's bachelorette party planning session. 6 of her closest friends getting together to finalize details for Jessica's upcoming Vegas trip. I was only there because Megan had asked me to pick her up afterward, but they invited me to stay for drinks while they wrapped up. Nice group of women, all around our age, most married or engaged. They were going through typical bachelorette planning: restaurants, shows, spa appointments, club reservations. The conversation was light and fun. Lots of jokes about Vegas stories, and what happens there stays there. Around my 3rd beer, Jessica started asking Megan about our final preparations, how excited she was, whether everything was coming together smoothly. 1 month to go, right? Are you completely ready? Jessica asked. Pretty much. Just some last-minute vendor confirmations and family stuff, Megan replied. What about the legal paperwork? I remember prenups and name changes being such a headache, said another friend, Qley. That's when Megan's entire demeanor shifted. She got uncomfortable and glanced at me before answering. We're not doing a prenup. I looked at her confused. We'd been discussing this for months. My lawyer had the documents ready. We just needed to schedule the signing. Really? Qley continued. I thought most people did those now, especially with businesses involved. Well, some people think their money is more important than trust, Megan said, not looking at me. The room got quiet. Everyone sensed tension building but didn't know what was happening. Megan, we've talked about this, I said quietly. We agreed it made sense to protect the business. That's when she rolled her eyes dramatically and looked around at her friends like I was being ridiculous. See what I have to deal with. I'm not marrying a man who asks me to sign a prenup like I'm some gold digger. Dead silence. 6 women staring at their drinks, clearly uncomfortable being in the middle of our drama. I sat there processing what she'd just said. Gold digger. After 4 years together, after agreeing the prenup made sense, she just accused me of treating her like a gold digger in front of all her friends. Interesting way to put it, I said calmly. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. I understand your position now. I finished my beer and stood up. I'm gonna head out. You can get a ride with Jessica, right? David, don't be dramatic. Sit down. I'm not being dramatic. I'm giving you space to enjoy your evening. I said goodbye to everyone and left. Drove home thinking about what Megan had said and how she'd said it. The eye roll, the dismissive tone, turning our private discussion into public humiliation to make me look bad. But mostly I thought about gold digger. 4 years of dating, and that's what she thought a prenup implied about her. Not smart financial planning or protection for both of us, but me treating her like someone after my money. Got home around 10 p.m. and made a decision. If Megan thought asking for a prenup meant I saw her as a gold digger, then maybe she wasn't someone I should be marrying. People who take offense at reasonable financial protection usually have reasons for taking offense. Sunday, I called my lawyer to discuss the situation and next steps. David, if she's hostile to basic asset protection, that's actually information you need. He said, better to know now than after you're married. What about the wedding contracts? We both signed most of them. Check the cancellation clauses. Many wedding vendors allow cancellation with appropriate notice, though you'll lose deposits. The question is whether you want to proceed with someone who's against protecting your business. Sunday afternoon, I started reviewing our wedding contracts. Most vendors required written cancellation notice from both parties, but I was the primary signatory and payment source for about 60% of the expenses, since I'd covered the larger portions. I drafted cancellation letters for all the vendors where I was primary signatory and could legally cancel without Megan's consent. Venue deposit, photographer, transportation, flowers, band, everything I could cancel unilaterally based on the contract terms. Monday morning, I delivered the cancellation letters personally and followed up with calls to confirm receipt. Most vendors were professional about it. Lost about $18,000 in deposits, but avoided paying the remaining $35,000 in final balances. The vendors I couldn't cancel alone were the caterer and cake maker, since Megan was primary signatory on those contracts. They'd have to stay unless she agreed to cancel them. Most vendors confirmed they'd send cancellation notices to both parties listed on contracts within 24 to 48 hours, per their standard procedures. Monday evening, I called my lawyer to cancel our prenup appointment. Probably wise, he said. Someone that hostile to asset protection in a business marriage isn't a good risk. Tuesday morning, I sent a brief text to Megan. I've canceled the wedding vendors I was legally able to cancel. You were right about not needing a prenup. Now you won't have to worry about marrying someone who treats you like a gold digger. Turned off my phone after sending it. Figured she'd call or show up eventually, but I needed time to process without dealing with drama. Wednesday morning, I turned my phone back on to find 53 missed calls and 71 text messages from Megan. The progression from confused to angry to panicked to desperate was pretty clear. I didn't respond to any of them. Wednesday afternoon brought the call I'd been expecting. Megan's dad, Robert, calling from his office. David, what the hell is going on? Megan's been calling us hysterical, saying you canceled the wedding. I canceled the portions I was legally able to cancel. Yes, sir. Why? What happened? I explained the bachelorette party conversation, what Megan had said about prenups and gold diggers, and how she'd made our private discussion into public embarrassment. She said you were treating her like a gold digger? In front of all her friends, made it very clear she finds prenups offensive and insulting. Robert was quiet for a long time. David, that's not how we raised her to think about business protection. I know, sir. That's why it surprised me. Have you talked to her about this? Given her a chance to explain? Robert, she explained perfectly clearly on Saturday night. She thinks men who ask for prenups are treating their fiancés like gold diggers. I respect that position. But you disagree with it. I think protecting business assets built before marriage is basic financial planning. She thinks it's insulting. Those are incompatible views. David, she's been calling us crying since yesterday, says she made a mistake and wants to work this out. She didn't make a mistake. She was honest about her feelings. Now she gets to marry someone who doesn't believe in prenups. What about the money you've lost on deposits? Cost of learning something important about compatibility before the wedding instead of after. Will you at least talk to her? She already told me what she thinks, Robert. Gold digger comment was pretty specific. Thursday morning, Megan showed up at my job site, I was reviewing project specs with my foreman when one of the crew told me there was a woman asking for me. Found her standing by my truck, looking like she'd been crying for days, hair unwashed, wearing sweatpants and a wrinkled shirt, clearly hadn't been sleeping. David, thank God, we need to fix this. Nothing to fix, Megan. You made your position clear on Saturday. I didn't mean what I said. I was embarrassed in front of my friends. You were honest. That's actually valuable. I wasn't being honest. I was being defensive. I know you're not treating me like a gold digger. But you said you wouldn't marry a man who asks for a prenup like you're a gold digger. Those were your exact words. I was having an emotional reaction. I panicked when Qley brought it up. You didn't panic. You had strong opinions about prenups and you expressed them clearly. David, please. I've been thinking about this constantly. I understand why you want a prenup. I'm ready to sign one. I don't want you to sign something you find philosophically offensive just to get married. I'm not opposed to it. I was being emotional and stupid. You were being honest about thinking prenups are what people do when they don't trust their partners. That's not what I think. It's exactly what you think, and you should find someone who shares that view of marriage and money. My crew was trying to stay busy, but everyone could see the personal drama happening. This wasn't the place for this conversation. Megan, I'm at work. You need to leave. David, don't throw away 4 years because of one comment. I'm not throwing away 4 years. I'm avoiding a marriage with someone who's hostile to protecting what I've built. I'm not hostile to it. You announced in front of 6 people that men who ask for prenups treat their fiancés like gold diggers. I was embarrassed and said something stupid. You said something honest. That's actually helpful information about how you view money and marriage. She started crying harder. You're really going to end our engagement over this? I'm ending our engagement because you showed me how you really feel about financial protection in marriage. That's not how I feel. It's exactly how you feel. Now you get to find someone who makes similar money, so prenups never come up. Megan left crying, but at least she left. Spent the rest of the day dealing with questions from my crew about what was happening. Most of them had been through divorces and understood why asset protection mattered. The rest of the week brought calls from her family and friends. Everyone wanting to know if I'd reconsider, if we could work it out, if I was sure about ending a 4-year relationship. Her maid of honor called Friday evening. David, Megan's devastated. She knows she messed up and wants to make this right. There's nothing to make right. She was clear about her views on prenups. She was being emotional. You know how she gets when she feels put on the spot. I know how she gets when she shows her real feelings about something. That wasn't her real feelings. That was pride and embarrassment talking. Her pride about not wanting to sign a prenup because it makes her feel like a gold digger. That's pretty specific. David, please just talk to her. Give her one more chance. She already had her chance to be honest about what she thinks. Mission accomplished. That was 3 weeks ago. Megan's been texting occasionally about wanting to work things out, but I haven't responded. Her friends have mostly stopped calling, though her family still reaches out sometimes. I'm not changing my mind. Megan showed me exactly how she views prenups and the people who want them. She thinks they're for men who don't trust their wives and women who are gold diggers. That's a fundamental incompatibility about money, trust, and marriage. The wedding cancellation cost me about $18,000 in lost deposits. But divorcing someone who's hostile to basic financial protection would have cost me millions. Megan wanted to marry someone who trusted her completely, without any legal protections. Now she's free to find someone who shares that romantic view of marriage and money. Someone who makes about what she does, so financial protection never becomes an issue. Sometimes people tell you exactly what they think when they're trying to impress their friends. Megan's eye roll and gold digger comment told me everything I needed to know about how she'd handle business decisions and money disagreements in marriage. Better to find out at a bachelorette party than in divorce court.